What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Dom and Pop DC Sports Talk Plus podcast. This week, you already know what it is. Week 4 preview. It's Dallas week, baby. We're going to get into it. And of course, we're going to cover our Bada Bets, do a little bit of national coverage. It's going to be great. All right, Pop, how you doing?
Doing good. The Mom and Pop show's on a roll, got viewership going up and up and up, especially on the post-game pod and the shorts. So thanks for all the support out there. Don't forget to like and subscribe.
Yeah, keep checking it out. I hope maybe we got some new eyes on the channel. We've been pushing the shorts a little bit harder, seem to be getting some good reception. So hopefully those clicks are transferring over. If you're new, welcome. If you're listening again, welcome. And without further ado, let's check it out. Let's get into it. I mean, I don't want to talk too much about the Eagles game, if at all, to be honest with you. But Pop, real quick recap. A couple days later, it's Tuesday now. We've been marinating in the loss. How does it feel? How are you feeling today?
I'm not sure. My views have really changed, from Sunday. I mean, it's disappointing so far to see how the team has played.
Yeah.
I think that we just got to see how things play out. I mean, if the Eagles are really the favorite to be in the Super Bowl out of the NFC, which a lot of people seem to start thinking in that direction, and they're really that good. We knew we're not really at that level. I think if I'm going to try to turn things positive at all, is I do think the coaching will figure it out. It's frustrating that they would go into the game and not have it figured out already.
Yeah.
But I do think, reading between the lines and some of the comments, realizing that they need to do a better job putting the players that we have that might have limitations in a better position, to perform, and understanding what the strengths of your opponents are. Like I said, I do think they just went out there thinking that our weapons are going to outperform your weapons rather than really realizing that there were some things that we needed to game plan for better. So if I have any hope, it's in that, and it's not. I don't think the Cowboys are the Eagles, or the Giants for that matter. I wasn't thoroughly impressed with what I saw Monday night. So
Yeah, I hope you're right. Similar feelings over here. Not much has changed. I have to say that upon thinking about it a little bit more, my take on the offensive line, I'm starting to worry a little bit more about what's going on there. Just really thinking about the pieces that we lost and the guys that we replaced them with, and the way they've been performing. Some of the injuries we've had, we'll get into that later. And my Carson Wentz panic meter is at least on now. First 2 games I wasn't worried too much about it, but now we've seen a few games of him. We've seen some of his habits. We've seen some of the knocks on him from Indy and from Philly kind of come to life in the burgundy and gold. So yeah, I would say overall I'm feeling about the same, but I guess I have more concise thoughts about those feelings. But that's kind of where I'm at. Real quick, the Commanders are 1-2, but boy Dom here 3-0 on predictions for the season, which I wish I was wrong, but I've gotten every game right so far. Pop is 2-1. You had a win against Philly, they blew it.
Yeah.
So it's a tough thing to celebrate, but I need something to celebrate, so I'm going to take it. We both.
Well, you had us going 9-8, so I hope your roll continues and we actually finish with that record.
Yeah, same. I mean, you had us going 9-8 as well. So, yeah, I mean, we both predicted losses for next week. So, but a lot has changed since then. Obviously Dak going down, Cooper Rush taking over, and so I think that's a really great segue. Let's get into next week. Let's put, we're on to Cincinnati. Let's put Philadelphia behind us. We're on to Dallas. We got to see them last night, Monday night showing, kind of get a picture of what the rest of the division was looking like for us. What did you think? What were some takeaways? Obviously, there's some big headlines, but just real quick, give me like a quick reaction to the Monday Night Football last night you saw.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't blown away by either team. Especially like say if we threw three quarters, it was pretty even game and
Yeah.
nothing really special there. I definitely saw, chinks or cracks. We'll get into what our keys of the game are and what I think
Yeah.
we, need to do to win. But Dallas pulled away at the end, so you got to give them credit. Their running game was really good, and Cooper Rush is functioning, and actually had a couple of balls that were dropped that
Yeah.
pretty good throws. But I did kind of see it was also he had time to throw and guys running wide open. So I don't know how hard his job was at certain parts of that, but I think there's definitely things that we can do to make him feel uncomfortable.
For
I
sure.
mean, I looking at it, I see a winnable game
Yeah.
this week. That's what I
Same.
see.
I mean, that's how I feel as well. I
Yeah.
think you made some great points about the first 3 quarters of the game. They look pretty even. The one thing that I think I saw that was a little bit concerning was that they both looked pretty dead in the first half. Like I texted you, I was like, "This game is a crime against humanity." Like it was just so boring, and it wasn't even like the Sunday night game with the Broncos and the Niners where it was kind of like defensive, but there was still some good stuff happening. This was just like bad football for 2 quarters. It was just so hard to watch. But both teams came out and made some adjustments in the second half, and you saw the game kind of pick up and actually get pretty good towards the end of it. We
Yep,
had a
agree.
decent finish there. Um, so obviously
Agree.
that's a little bit concerning for me, and that they were both teams were kind of able to adapt so quickly, and we worry about that in DC. But some of the big headlines going into our game against Dallas. This is our first road division game of the year. Last time we were at Dallas, it was ugly. We gave up 50 plus points. They just came out and smacked us. Obviously, different team. Dak was at the helm then. Um, Speaking of Dak, Cooper Rush is to start. Maybe we got a little quarterback controversy going on there. I mean, Jerry has been doing Jerry things on
It's been
social
Sison
media.
Cooper.
I will say, we could talk about a little bit about that, but I will say that I don't think Rush is better than Dak yet. But I think what we saw last night is he can make all the throws that he needs to make to win the game. And I don't think that the drop off is going to be significant enough. He's good in the pocket. He works the pocket well. He's not mobile, but he handles himself well in the pocket. The ball's coming out on time. I don't think it's a significant enough downgrade for me to feel a ton better about the game. But I think Dallas as a whole is probably a little bit worse than I thought they were in the preseason. That's kind of where I'm at with the Rush versus Dak
I'd
debate.
much rather play Cooper Rush than Dak. I mean, it's one thing if Dak's banged up and they rush him back, but I think, I think we can get to him, we can
Yeah.
pressure him, and we can force him into some mistakes, and that's what we need to do. So
Yeah.
I
I hope
think
so.
it's you know we have to step up and play much better. That's
Hmm.
that's the problem, right? Like if you look at our performances and what we've seen so far through preseason and the regular season, they haven't been good enough. And if
Yeah.
we play that way, we're going to lose. I mean, we're kind of basing a prediction on, yeah, Dallas is beatable. I feel like our talent versus their talent, I feel like we can win the game.
Yeah.
But
We're within that range of if we play well, we can win.
but we've got to perform.
Yeah.
It's got to be like you said, complementary football. The defense can't show up, and the offense doesn't show up, or vice versa. And the
Yeah.
reality is, offensive performance this season has not been great.
Yeah. I
They
mean,
had two drives to start a game and end a game that were good. They had a half of football in Detroit when, obviously they're playing in more of a prevent and not to lose as much as attacking our team. And then just an awful 4 quarters against Philly. So, generally the offense has not been great. Some of the stats have looked better than that. And I think, I was encouraged by what I saw of the defense. And I don't know, people have given Kendall Fuller a really hard time, but those receivers made some unbelievable plays. I mean, it
yeah.
wasn't as if he was right on Smith. And generally if it's a jump ball, you know, receiver skill set is to win that battle,
Yep.
right? It's generally the advantage is going to go to the receiver over the corners. So I was encouraged by the fact it wasn't these blown coverages. Their big plays were great plays by them. Sometimes you got to give the other team credit, but it wasn't our defenders out of position. And yeah, you can nitpick and say, "Oh, he got burnt." He didn't get burnt. He was right on him. I mean, I was watching Santana Moss go over a couple of the plays in the show they have, the I almost said Redskins show. There you go, the
Yeah.
Banner show um, that they have, that's official from the team, and he was saying the same things. They look. I don't know how he could cover Devontae Smith better. The guy just went up, made an amazing play, and I
Yep.
saw a few catches like that. So I was, I think we just continued to put the defense in a bad position. I also thought, Jamin Davis has taken a pretty big beating, but if you go back and look at his performance and rewatch some of the highlights, he made some spectacular plays. I mean,
Hmm.
there was one play that somebody tried to put him down for because he kind of just tagged um, Hurts out, but like the speed that he displayed, he was passing his own guys on defense
Yep.
to get to Hurts and basically force him into, taking a knee. I mean, it was a great play. So hopefully we see, I saw some flashes of a special talent there. Hopefully he can continue to build on that confidence. And again, how do we use him? Right?
Yep.
How we should use him is in an aggressive role.
Yep. I
So
agree.
it doesn't look like, I was reading some stuff right before the show. Doesn't look like Dak's going to play, even
Yep.
though there was a little bit of noise that he might try to come back. I think Jerry Jones is trying to play games with, you know, he might make it back just from a,
He's not going to
coaching
play.
game. I don't think he's going to play.
Yeah.
But, I think we need to I would still use Jamin in you guard the quarterback, either meaning you pressure him, or if it's Dak, you make sure that he doesn't, because he did a great job containing, hurts his feet. And,
Yep.
um, I think as long as the defense just comes, I'm going to get my keys in the game already, but comes, and then I think offense. Honestly, I think we've got talented players. I think Carson can get the job done, but we got a game plan in a way that says this guy's not an all-world quarterback. He's got limitations. He's
Yep.
closer to an Alex Smith than he is a Jalen Hurts, right?
Yep.
So let's game plan in a way, takes advantage of his great arm, gets the ball out of his hands quickly, let's move the chains, and take advantage if you need to. People say he's pretty good outside the pocket when you roll him out. Do that, but understand his limitations and game plan for him. And most quarterbacks in the league, you have to do that,
Definitely.
right? You're not going to run read option with Kirk Cousins, right? There are certain strengths that he has. Play to those strengths, game plan to those strengths, get the balls to your playmakers one way or another. Get Terry involved early,
Yep.
and we can win this game. But we got to play better. That's the why would you predict us to win this game based on what we see so far?
Well, that's what I was gonna say. Basically, is that if you copy paste the week 3 Commanders performance and the week 3 Dallas performance into week 4, we're gonna lose that game. So we have to. But the other side of it is basically that we knowing the adjustments that we need to make, if we make those adjustments and based off of what we've seen from Dallas so far, it looks winnable. It looks like we can compete with these guys if we adjust and given, the amount of wiggle room you expect for just the level of talent we have on the team. Um, so something that I thought was kind of interesting, and I don't want to get into too big of a conversation about it, but there was talk this morning on the B Mitch and Finley show about they were kind of saying, we know who Dallas is. We know their identity. We know what they're going to do. We don't really know exactly what our identity is quite yet. We've seen some flashes in some different places, but we don't really know what this team is going to be. So it's kind of hard to go into the matchup expecting what we're going to see. It's kind of more like we need to know what the counterplay is for Dallas. And I think, if you could sum it up in one sentence, basically, it's going to be Dallas is going to send heat. The Dallas,
Of
what
course.
they
Why
do,
wouldn't you?
what they do is, well, first of all, we've shown an inability to protect our quarterback,
Right.
especially in the last 2 weeks. And that's Dallas's
And
thing.
our quarterback has one of the slowest releases in the league.
And that's Dallas's thing. So
Right.
Dallas is going to rush the passer, particularly with Micah Parsons, who's one of the best, if not the best defender in the league. And then they have Trayvon Diggs, who's going to go for the home runs. And we have a quarterback who we know is a little bit susceptible to giving up the home run sometimes or forcing some throws. So that's pretty nerve wracking. And then you combine that basically CD Lamb at one point last night said, "All right, guys, everybody on my back, we're going to go win this football game." And he took them down the field on that game winning drive. He made that incredible grab. You pair that with what we saw with Devonta Adams doing, or Devonta Smith, excuse me. I overthought it. I tried not to screw it up, and I screwed it up. You
It's
pair
okay.
that, you
Pull
pair
the
that,
pop. You
yeah,
pull
pull the
the
pot,
pop.
man. It's genetic. You pair that with what you saw Devonta Smith do last week. Definitely some cause for concern, but you figure offensively we've got weapons. Defensively, we can challenge them hopefully a little bit more. You saw Saquon went to work last night. So if we can keep the ball on the ground, we can definitely at least keep them honest defensively, you hope. So I think right here, one last question real quick before we get into our keys. That felt like such a good place to get to the keys, but I do want to talk about this. Do you think this is a must-win game? This always comes up early on in the season with this team, and you always talk about, is it a must-win? Is it not? I remember going into week 4 last year, going into Atlanta, it was the same question. It was, is this a must-win game? So going into week 4, and of course we won that game. J.D. McKissick made an incredible play. Um, Going into this game against Dallas, real quick, Pop, I'll give my answer after you give yours. Do you think this is a must-win game?
I'll give my answer in a second. I do want to follow up on something you said, just super quick.
Yeah, please.
I like what the comment about not having an identity. It's actually true, right? Because I think what happened was we convinced ourselves that AG is not a good running back. He's more of a pass catching back because we got Brian Robinson. And then AG gets thrown back into being the running back role. Well, when we went, and I heard the show today, when we went on that 4-game winning streak last year, we rode AG running the ball.
Yeah.
So maybe he's got some deficiencies, but I think he showed he can get yards per carry. He can run the
Yep.
ball. We've got, so, and then the other part of our identity got lost was we got this shiny new quarterback and all these shiny new weapons, because Curtis came back and Dotson, is going to be the greatest rookie ever. And let's slow our roll on that a little bit. And we said that's going to be our identity, right? Throwing the football. And especially with B-Rob out. And we lost it. We lost what we should have been doing as a football team. But
Agreed.
getting to your question, I'm going to answer it no as far as it being a must win because maybe I'm a math guy and 1-3 isn't the end of the
Fair
season.
enough.
But I think, it was a really interesting exchange between John Keim and RG3, who RG3, by the way, don't want to get into, great analyst. Could say what he want about a quarterback, but I really think he's entertaining as an analyst. And,
Keeps
and
it
he
real.
really makes sense.
Yeah.
He really makes sense.
Yeah.
It's not just, all flash. He tries to be a little bit controversial at times, but he's a very good analyst. And he just went back and forth and I said, this seems like a critical game in order to not lose the fan base and not create apathy. And RG3, quickly said, well, a win against Dallas will cure that. So
Yeah.
I go back into, is it a must win? Officially, I'm going to say no, but man, it's close. It is razor thin close that we really need this one.
Yeah.
And maybe more than winning or losing, we need a really good performance. We need to put up some points. We need to make some plays on defense. If we lose because it's a really close battle and it's a really back and forth situation, and we could just look at it and say, man, we played well. I can live with that. But it's super close. I'm going to say no, but it is super close, and we really do need this one.
Yeah,
Could change a lot.
I'm on the other side of that line. I think it's a must-win game in my opinion, and I think for reasons, you're a math guy, and I think you did a good job of outlining that. 1-3 is not the end of the world. I would say starting the season 0-2 in the division pretty much puts you out of the race to win that division, especially when we're looking at Philly being as good as they are. Um, but, crazier things have happened. So I think for me, it's a must win because, like I said, you don't want to go 0-2. You don't want to lose your first two division games back to back. And especially when you look at the way Jacksonville has been trending since the game that we had against them in week one. And when you look at really how close that game was, everybody looks back on that game with rose colored glasses, but really we were this close to losing that one. So
Yep.
we lose this game, it's not going to feel so good. And it never feels good to lose to Dallas. It never feels good to be 1-3, but losing this game, starting the season off 1-3 in combination with everything that we've been starting to feel and kind of the growing noise around Rivera's tenure, you start to wonder, where's that locker room headed? How are the guys who have been there for this whole time feeling? It's kind of looking like the same old S again. And now we're 1-3. I think we got to show the bounce back. We got to see some adjustments. We got to really, we got to win this game because I think if we lose, we're losing because we're making the same mistakes. We're not adjusting fast enough. And to see that again is going to be really concerning. So, speaking of which, let's not talk about what we need to do to lose. Let's talk about what we need to do to win. Let's talk about three things that need to pop in order for us to win. Dom and Pop show, three keys to the game. Pop, go ahead. Do you want to kick it off or do you want me to do it?
I'll kick it off.
Kick it
I'll go
off.
quick.
Yeah, go quick.
I'll do it in rapid fire. I think some of these are recurring themes, but
Definitely.
need to sustain drives.
Yep.
I think we need to establish a running game. I don't really care if we do it through a running game or we do it through a quick pass game, but we need to move chains. We need to sustain drives.
Yep.
Right. We need to keep defense off the field and put points up. And even if it's a long drive and a field goal, but hopefully we can convert it to 7. I think my next two are defensive, right? I want the defense to stay aggressive. I want to see more of what we saw in Philadelphia. They need to attack the quarterback. They need to put pressure on the quarterback. But the third key is we do need to stop the run because Dallas, one thing I did see last night was a heck of a good running back with two great running backs in Pollard and Zeke. And, we're going to have to stuff the run.
Yeah.
So those would be my three keys.
Yeah, great.
Quick and dirty.
Great keys. I love them. I'm going to give my three real quick, and then maybe we can just discuss a little bit, kind of bounce off how we're feeling. So my first key, strike early. We need points in at least one, if not both, of the first two drives. I want to come out hot. Point number 2, we need to find a way to neutralize the pass rush. Dallas leads the league in sacks. We gave Philly 9 sacks in 1 week last week. We're going to lose if Dallas gets 9 sacks. That's almost a guarantee. You can't, it is so...
They get 5 sacks, we're going to lose.
Yeah, it is so rare to give up that many sacks and win. Like you said, it's so rare to give up more than 3 and win. So we got to find a way to neutralize the pass rush. Like you said, I kind of don't care if that's from establishing the run, getting the ball out quick. Don't even give Carson a deep option because he's going to go for it. Quick aside on that second point.
You know why I'm laughing?
What?
Can I inject something?
Go ahead.
You said you're going to rattle your 3 off real quick. And you're going to do it. You're already doing a deep dive on number 2. That's all right. You got to edit the shorts.
Yeah. That's fine. That's fine. Ruin my whole flow.
Keep going.
Yeah, so
keep going.
We gotta neutralize the pass rush. And I think a really important and underrated part to that is Wes Schweitzer sucked last week. He was bad. The snaps were coming out slow. Carson was like this all over the place. Yeah. And, you say didn't help, but if a snap is coming out slow, you're losing half a second of time to even begin the drop back. and the
And
defensive
it
line is
can't
already
help your
getting downhill.
confidence. And yeah,
So we
you're just
can't
trying to
have that.
survive at that point.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
the snaps have to be better.
Yeah.
Schweitzer's been really bad. Um, so hopefully that turns around. Number 3, time of possession. Kind of like what you said, sustaining drives. I think the best way for this team to win has been for the last 3 years and will continue to be run the damn football, keep the other offense off the
Yeah.
field, keep our defense in position to attack rather than to prevent. We don't want to, when you're playing defense, when your team has a lead, you're playing very differently. That allows the defensive line to just pin their ears back and get after you. When you're playing defense, when you're behind, you have to play very differently. You have to worry about giving up the big play, et cetera, et cetera. You don't have wiggle room. So time of possession is going to be number 3 for me because Dallas is going to be looking to run the ball a lot. If we put them in position where Cooper Rush has to get rid of the ball, fine, but we cannot allow them to basically just control the pace of play on us. So that means we got to run the ball, we got to do short passes, et cetera, et cetera. So that was my attempt at rattling off my 3 keys quickly. Just a quick recap. We got to strike early, neutralize the pass rush, and we got to handle time of possession. Those are my 3. Kind of similar to yours, Pop. But yeah, those are the 3 keys to the game. How you feeling? What do you think based off what we just talked about?
Yeah, I can't say I'm feeling overly confident.
Yeah.
He said we'll just go with our preseason picks, that we pick losses. I don't feel overly confident, but I do think it's a winnable game. So,
I agree.
I'm not going to predict win or loss officially here, but I'd like to keep positive vibes and think that we're going to turn it around. And it's like I said the last time, it's an opportunity,
Yeah.
right? I think we've laid out all the things to be concerned about, what we think they need to do to win. Great points by you, but it's an opportunity. You win this game, you go to 2-2. It's like the season starts over again. Right?
Yeah.
You've got what would that be? 13 more games, and you're at 500.
Yeah.
Like the world's in front of you. You have a winning record the rest of the way. You can be a playoff team. So 1-3 looks really different.
Yeah.
So it's a great opportunity. It's going to be all black unis. Apparently, that's the rumor.
Interesting.
I don't know. Excited about that. That's probably going to be pretty cool. Maybe that gives them a bit of a spark as well. But I think they'll come out. I think they'll play hard. I thought they came out and played hard against Philly. I just think they got punched in the face and, weren't able to respond. People say they weren't ready. I didn't feel that way against Philly. I felt that way against Detroit. Didn't think they were ready against Detroit.
Yeah.
I think in Philly they were ready. They just got out coached
defensively.
On offense. So I think we got to get in our Bada Bets. I really don't want to talk about Bada Bets. But why don't you kick it off?
Yeah,
can you do any worse than 0-5?
No, mathematically you can't. 0-6.
That's about as bad as
0-7.
Right?
I mean, 0 is just 0, no matter which way you cut it. So awful. I mean, that was just terrible on your end.
I was just typing a letter, dear Mr. Portnoy. Despite my performance in the first 2 weeks,
revamped the
I promise I'll do better. And I go 0-5.
Yeah, that was rough, Pop. I can't lie. I mean, I didn't do much better. I went 2-3, but basically all the games that we picked as a unit, we lost on. And then the games that we just
we're 0 for the season on both.
That. So Dolphins, obviously I said they would cover, and they actually ended up beating Buffalo. And then about the Sunday night game, the only thing I have to say is Broncos Nation, let's ride.
Oh my God, I hate that so much. I hate that so much.
Oh, man. So, week 4.
How'd your boy Russ do for you in fantasy?
You know what? He brought home they say the most important quarterback stat is a W, and he's got 2. I'm 2-1 on the year. What are you, 3-0, or are you 3-0, or are you 2-1 as well?
In fantasy,
yeah.
2-1.
So 2-1, we're in the same.
Week 1 wasn't a good
We're in the same place. I ended up losing in one of my other leagues, and then in my my league with my guys from Maryland, I'm actually 3-0, and I'm going against. There's only 3 teams that are 3-0, and I'm going against one of the other 3-0 teams, supposedly the best one.
We'll check in on that on Sunday.
He's got.
So let's wipe the slate clean. You're 2-3. I'm 0-5. I got a lot to climb back for. let's pick our 5 games, what we think are the 5 best games. Now I picked these games. I assume you're good with
Yeah,
it.
I'm good.
There
I
wasn't any
got I got
feedback
my picks. I got
otherwise.
my picks already ready to
I
go.
do too. I'm ready to roll. So why don't you read them off and we just again rapid fire. We do an analysis afterwards. Let's make our
All
picks.
right, so we got Dolphins at the Bengals. I had to, look up who was home and road because you just put verses on all of them for the outline. So I covered that.
The home team's always second, son.
Dolphins at the Bengals, minus 3.5
Yeah,
for the Bengals. I'm taking Cincinnati on that. Pop?
me
Yeah.
too. On to
All right,
Cincinnati.
we're on to Cincinnati. Cincinnati wins that game. We got the Bills minus 3.5 at Baltimore. Baltimore underdogs at home. Pop, who you got?
I'll take Lamar and my Ravens plus 3.5.
Man, I thought taking Baltimore was going to be controversial. I took Baltimore there as well. I think they cover. Um, Jags at Eagles. Jacksonville looking pretty good. Eagles have 6.5 point favorites at home at Lincoln. What do you think, Pop?
The Eagles are due for a letdown, but I got to go Eagles based on what I've seen so far. I hope almost hope I'm wrong on this one, but I need a Bada win.
Yeah, I mean, this is my wild pick here, but I got Jacksonville covering. I think they cover, but they lose. I think just 6.5, that's a lot of points to give a team that just hung 40 on the Chargers and held them to only 10. I know Herbert's banged up, but I still think Jacksonville, they might be kind of legit. Chiefs versus Bucks.
So you picked the
I picked the
Jags.
Jags. Chiefs versus
Wow.
Bucks. Chiefs are 2.5 point favorites. They're playing at Tampa, but that game actually,
Chiefs.
you got Kansas City. I was quick.
Chiefs.
I got Kansas City as well. And then you have the Rams at the 49ers. 49ers are 2.5 point favorites. Pop. I got the
Rams.
49ers there, and I think George Kittle's going to have a big game. Big game. Manifest.
So we picked two differently.
Yeah. So it's going to come
Again,
down to
all right.
the Jacksonville game and the Kittle game. Kittle will be playing, but it's going to come down to the Jacksonville and the San Francisco game for us here. Yeah, so you have an opportunity to catch me this week if I go 0-2. All I got to do is win one, and then we're still dancing. So, unfortunately, you didn't give me the option.
Long
You
season.
didn't give me
So
the option for a Broncos line this week.
I asked you if you want to change any of the games, but I try to pick the
No,
best
it's cool.
ones.
It's like you were.
Yeah, Eagles, Jags. Jags, like you said, are climbing. Eagles are on a roll at 6.5 point line. That's pretty significant. So that one I think is an interesting one because I do think at some point the Eagles are due to come back down to earth a little
Yeah.
bit. I'm not, convinced with the Dolphins. That's why I picked the Bengals. I feel like if you really break down their season, they were really they're good. They're about to get spanked in against the Ravens, and it was a great comeback. But it felt a bit like the Ravens let their foot off the gas a little bit. And give Dolphins credit for coming back. And really, if you look at that Bills game statistically, if you just looked at it statistically, you'd say the Bills would have won that game easily. And so they're doing a bit with smoke and mirrors. And again, you got to give them credit. They played two of the best teams in the league
Yep.
and got some big wins. But I'm not convinced they're anywhere near the best team in the NFC. And the Bengals are, Super Bowl. They were in the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
I don't know how you say that. How do you say that? Super Bowl.
Defending.
They're not Super Bowl.
Defending AFC
AFC.
champions. There you go.
Gotcha. Thank you, son.
And the Dolphins
Thank
are in the AFC as well. I know you had said NFC there. You probably meant the AFC.
So
Josh,
there you go.
Josh Allen missed Isaiah McKenzie basically wide open on that fourth down play, which could have won them that game. There was also some issues with guys like cramping, and the heat was really bad, which is why I'm taking the Bengals, just because I think Tua is questionable going into that game. What's his name? Waddle is questionable going into that game as well. And these guys are they're recovering from what was a really nasty game in that heat down in Miami. Short week on the road. Yeah, Cincy, that's an easy pick there. Baltimore is probably a pretty controversial pick from us, but
they're getting 3.5.
Yeah,
That's why I liked
same.
it.
And at home,
it's yeah.
and at home,
It's going to be a
I'm
tight
gonna
game, I
I'm gonna
think, because as much as you could talk about Baltimore needing to stop Buffalo, Buffalo needs to stop
Baltimore's the highest
Baltimore,
scoring offense in the league right now.
and Lamar's
Yeah.
dynamic, right? And he's doing it with his arm and his legs, like his MVP year. So that to me, that's a push game. I'm surprised the Buffalo's that big of a
Well,
favorite,
Buffalo's banged up
honestly.
on defense too. They're missing a few guys, a few
Right,
of their key guys.
right.
So yeah, and these are the kind of games, we don't follow the Ravens, but we kind of don't have a choice just because of where we're from. These are the kind of games the Ravens win in the regular season, and then they'll lose them in the postseason. But these are the kind of games the Ravens usually win.
They got to take a
Got to get my
shot.
shot in.
Got to take
These
a
are the
shot.
games the Ravens usually win during the regular
Our
season.
Ravens inside is going to flash his rings at you on next time he
That's
sees you.
fine.
Yeah, Chiefs Bucks. I think we didn't spend too much time on that one yet. I just feel like I was really disappointed in what I saw out of the Bucks, and they are pretty banged
Yeah,
up in terms of offensive weapons. I don't think that Brady is at the stage of his career where he could put the team on his back. I think he's still
of
really
course.
good. As much fun as I have with you about him, but I just don't think he's at that stage. And they've Gronk retired, and you got other guys that are really banged up and hurt and out. I don't know are any of the guys coming back this week?
Evans will be back. He was suspended.
Evans should be back, right? It
Evans
was a
was
one game,
suspended for
yeah.
1 week, but he's healthy. He'll be back, although he's been known to roll an ankle in practice from time to time. But as of right now, Evans will be back. Um, Godwin is questionable, and so is Julio. And I don't really count on either of those guys at this point. I mean, Julio's been on one leg for like 4 seasons at this point,
Right.
maybe 3. But yeah, I mean, you give any quarterback you could put Burrow back there, you could put Herbert back there, you could put Mahomes back there. I think aside from Mahomes and Josh Allen, I don't think the results are going to be too different. I mean, Russell Gage, Brashad Perryman, Cameron Brate. I mean, this is like a high school varsity team, wide receivers here. This is a tough group, and
Yeah.
Mahomes is just
So Chiefs,
Mahomes
and
is so
and,
good.
and not to mention the fact that the Bucks most likely will not be playing at
Yeah,
home because of the hurricane, or I don't know if it's most likely. I guess timing wise, it might have cleared out of there, but unfortunately, praying for those folks at Tampa Bay. I
definitely.
mean, it could do quite a bit of
Yeah,
damage.
there's
So,
even
they talk about they originally were talking about moving it to Miami, but now I heard somewhere in the
yeah,
Midwest, maybe a neutral site. So that definitely takes away some of
yeah.
their advantage. And I mean, as far as Rams 49ers, Jimmy G. So now it's Jimmy G and the Niners, Steelers, and the Patriots are dead to me when it comes to Bada Bets. I'm never going with any of those three
Fair enough.
again, or at least not until they prove it to me. So I just think that's and it's almost like Rams going to 49ers is not much of a trip, almost like a semi home game for them. They're probably going to get a good traveling crowd there. So I think, I don't know. I feel good about my
I don't.
picks. I know I'm 0 and
Hey,
5, but I feel good
the
about my
only thing I
picks.
don't feel good about what you said there is the Rams getting a good traveling crowd. Dude, I live in LA and this is a 49ers town. Like for the Sanford, that stadium will be
And
red.
I think I was talking
That
out of
stadium,
the
I
old
mean,
rear
they
end of
play,
me.
it's a road game when they play at SoFi. That stadium will be red. And I think Garoppolo is going to bounce back. I was watching with my buddy, 49ers fan last week. And he's a big Jimmy G guy. I, you know, I also just think the Rams are a little bit hungover. I don't think they were the best team in the NFL last year. They just had a good run. So I think they're a little hungover, and I think the 49ers defense is just too damn good at this point. So
All right,
I'll
we'll
take
see.
I'll take
We'll
San
see.
Francisco to win that upset.
Yeah.
Well, I guess it's not technically an upset, but feels like an upset. Anyways, yeah, let's see how this goes. I mean, we were gonna have a lot to talk about on Sunday, one way or the other. I think um, this week is gonna have
Yes,
a
sir.
lot to say.
Dallas week. It's Dallas week. Come
Yeah,
on,
we got to
people.
get hype.
Get
I know
fired
we
up.
haven't given ourselves much material to get hype with, but we got to find a way to get hype. Got to bring the heat this week. And yeah, without further ado, I've been Dom,
This is Pop.
and thanks for another great week, guys.
I'm on your chain. lovely look in your eyes, paradise. I'm so close to heaven now, just waiting on you. Love me like that, just love me like I love you, baby. Just love me like I love you. I'm waiting on